I want to spend a little bit of time explaining what the three different types of values that exist when you're talking about house value. So the first one we're going to talk about is the appraised value. Now this one is the most simple to comprehend. It's usually the lender will hire a neutral third-party appraiser who goes out, and they have certifications and specialized training to go out and appraise a house. And what they're going to do is they're going to look at comparable sales of actual sold houses that typically go back the last 6 months. They're going to look at the same style, same characteristics, same size, same number of bedrooms. If they can't find something identical, they're going to get something close enough, and then they're going to make adjustments on paper to account for those differences. And that's what the bank is relying on for being able to have a little bit of, I guess, confidence, if you will, for the fact that, yeah, this house is worth what we're going to be loaning the money on. So easy, appraised value. Number two, the one that's probably a little bit more confusing, is the assessed value. Now what you're going to see on the screen here is a link to the Pima County Assessor website. Now the Pima County Assessor, they're going to go through every year, and they're going to look and see, all right, what is the tax revenue that's needed for the municipality to run? Now, one of the major ways that most municipalities will levy taxes is through property taxes. So the assessor and treasurer will get together, and they're going to kind of chat, say, hey, how many parcels exist out there? How many properties exist in the county? What's our budget? Let's divide those two numbers. I know this is a gross simplification here, but in simplified terms, it's really more a function of that for tax and taxation purposes for property taxes. So when you go onto that website, you can look up your past historic assessed value, but don't be scared, because typically that is a very low number. And in fact, as a homeowner, you kind of like that to be low, because that will dictate how much property taxes you pay every year. So that's assessed value. Last one we're going to talk about is the market value. This is a very fuzzy one. I saved this one for last because, well, frankly, there's a lot of confusion about it. The way I like to think of market value is it's what someone is currently willing to pay for it. It's not something that's based on historic data, and it's not something that's easily calculated. And the reason for that is that, you got to consider things like how trendy the house is, how desirable it is it updated? You also have to look at things like the supply levels in the market. Is there a lot of competition? Is there not a lot of competition? You also have to really consider what's happening in the market as a whole. All of these things will influence what the market value is. And again, at the end of the day, the market value is what somebody is willing to pay for a product in today's dollars. All three of those values, they each have their place, they each have their purpose, but it's important to make sure that you know the distinction of those. So simply because a house is going to appraise for one value today, a year from now, the market may be completely different. And so you got to look at the appraised value today. That's important for the sake of the lender, but really I think you want to really consider what is the market value and what is the market in general doing. So I use all these as examples to say, if you're stressed out about what your assessed value is, I wouldn't be too stressed out about it. If you're stressed out about what the appraisal value comes back at, say that you're purchasing a home, again, that's really just a snapshot in today's time period. What really is more important about is what that house value will appraise for when you need to sell it. That's far more important than anything.